I read an article yesterday that said almost 70% of retirement age women have no savings at all, zero. And that sounds shocking, but I'm 3 years away from early retirement and I have no retirement savings to speak of. I, I need to change that for myself. I am going to be a guinea pig on this channel and I am going to show you what I'm going to do. I need to get through a surgery, so I'm not going to be saving or investing for the next few months. But what I do plan to do while I'm recovering from my surgery is grow my pet care business, hire some other walkers, so that it'll make money whether I can work or not. That's my first step, is I am going to take my pet care business and transition it from being a job that I'm tied to, that I have to work at all the time to generate income, to a full-fledged business that pays me whether I can show up and do the work or not. I think that, for me, is going to be my first step in financial freedom and hopefully retirement someday. I don't think it's possible starting from nothing in a regular W-2 job when you get older as a woman. I do think that the best way out, or the best way through, is to work for yourself. I get so many tax write-offs from having my own business that if I had a W-2 job, I'd have to earn twice as much as what I earn working for myself. Plus, I'd lose all the freedom and the flexibility that I have. So that's the first thing, is if you're like me and you want to figure out how you can scrape up enough money to retire, if you're already at retirement age or if it's looming and approaching fast, I would say the first thing is to find a business that you can start with little or no money, that you can grow and scale enough so that eventually you don't have to do the work. And that's my goal. So if that's something that is interesting to you, keep watching. Now, you may be thinking, but I don't want to have a pet care business, and that's okay. You don't have to have the same business as me, but I do think that whatever you decide to do as far as starting a business, it needs to be scalable. It could be eBay, it could be Etsy, you could be selling plants out of your house. Whatever it is that you enjoy doing, I think that's important too. If you enjoy doing the work and you can think of a way to scale it. And I've never scaled a business before, so I'm not an expert on that, but I am an experiment on that. And so I am going to take my downtime during my upcoming surgery, and somehow, some way, I am going to figure out how to scale my pet care business so that the next time I need a vacation, or I need to take time off for surgery, or I just want to have a weekend off, I can do that without losing money. Because currently, I'm tied to my job. I have to work or I don't get paid. And I'm hoping to change that. And I know if you're watching this, you may be in the same boat. And I don't think it's hopeless. I think there is hope for us. I think we just got to figure it out. But I think putting our head in the sand isn't the answer either. And it's not something that we can put off for later, because it's go time. Now is the time to figure it out while we still can work, while we still can grow a business, while we still have options, because as we get older, we have fewer options. So I am going to do my very best to get this under control and get this growing while I still can. And I'm excited to do it, and I'm excited to share it, because I want to be an inspiration to my children and to you. And I want to see if I can figure this out. I think I can. Have you heard influencers talking about you should rent your home and you shouldn't buy because your home is not an asset, it's a liability, and you should only invest in assets and not liabilities? I have a bone to pick with that. If you rent your whole life instead of buying a home, if you took the difference in the money and you invested it That's awesome. But how many of us are investing? Clearly, 70% of women or close to it have no money by the time they retire. But if they had a home, they could have that paid off by the time they retire. And then they could have lower housing costs. If they don't have it paid off, they could rent a room or two or three in the home, especially if it was a family home that they kept from their kids. They could rent the whole thing out. They could sell it. They'd get money back. But if they were renting that home for that whole time, they just get to move out. They don't get to partake in any of the equity. They don't have a mortgage that was paid by somebody else. They just had a place to live. And yes, it's cheaper to rent because of the maintenance costs. You will pay more in the long run in maintenance. You're going to have to fix things. You're going to have to pay for that. And when you rent, you don't. But the missed opportunity of building real estate wealth is huge. And even if it's a small house, I think it's better to own than it is to rent. I'm almost done paying for my condo. I owe $25,000 on my condo, and then it will be free and clear. Now, I'll still have HOA dues, I'll still have maintenance costs, insurance, repairs, things like that. But I'm going to have huge equity. It's a condo in Los Angeles. The equity is huge. If times get tough and I need to sell it because I can't pay the HOA dues or I can't pay the property taxes, I can sell it and I can get cash out and I can go move somewhere else that has a cheaper cost of living and I can pay cash for a house. But if I were renting this whole time, I wouldn't have that option. If the times got tough and I couldn't afford the rent, I just have to move. And when I leave with nothing but my possessions. If I have to move in a place that I own, I can sell it and I have options. So I strongly disagree with renting instead of owning long term. Now, if it's a stage in life where you know you're going to be moving and you're not going to stay in a place, then I do agree with it. Because the closing costs when you have to buy and sell a home are so high that you don't recoup those for at least 5, 6, 7 years. I don't know exactly, but I remember it's several years before you recoup the loss of the points and the closing costs and all the fees. But if you're going to stay in a place for 10 or 20 years, I definitely think that you should be an owner. Another thing that I see get a lot of my female friends in trouble is their kids. When we're young, we often stay home to take care of our children and lose decades of work. And when we're older, we take care of our parents. When they get sick, most of the caregiving in a family falls on the women's shoulders. And we do it. We love the people that we're taking care of, and we generally do it with a happy heart. I know I did. I took care of children when they were small, and I took care of my mother and my grandmother when they were older and not well. But there comes a time when your children are grown, they're out of college, and I see a lot of my female friends continue to pay for things for their grown 20-something children. The kids live in the house longer. They may be on mom's phone plan, maybe they're on mom's insurance, and that all saves money to the kid. But the kid's not paying that portion, the mom is still paying it. And I think when you're coming up on 60, it's time that your kids stood on their own 2 feet, because otherwise you're going to become a huge burden to them. And I don't want to be a burden to my children. So when they have trouble paying their bills, they have to figure it out. I can't pay their bills when my children are in their 30s. And if they run into trouble, I can't help them because I've got to take care of myself so that I don't end up showing up at their door needing help. And I do see that with a lot of my friends, that their children continue to suck the money out of their bank accounts for one thing or another. They have one crisis after another, and we feel sorry for them, and we love our children, and we want to help them. We know what it's like to be broke, and it's hard, and it sucks, and we don't want that for them. But we have to take the training wheels off at some point and let go and let them take care of themselves, because we can't take care of our kids forever, and at some point we've got to take care of ourselves. That's my last soapbox item for today. I hope you have a great day. I hope I've given you something to think about. And I'll talk to you later.